Hi there, welcome to Bible/Chat. Gus, hello,
I'm a
how are you?
method actor.
Nice.
Uh,
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I
Good.
wasn't sure what we were talking
This
about.
is like our sixth
I know.
iteration of
It's.
this.
I think what's hard is sometimes when you have you work with children, it's hard, right?
Yeah. Yeah, anyway,
Anyway,
just for the viewers, we were just laughing and we couldn't stop laughing and we kept having to re-record stuff, so I apologize. Anyway,
but it had nothing to do with the Bible chat that we're about to
we're
do
about to
now,
talk
which
about.
is a
No,
very serious
it was
one.
a separate one, yeah.
It was a different Bible chat
Yeah.
that we will not be doing.
Correct.
Okay, perfect. If you want to know about it, is John at faithbibleoc.org.
John B. But it's
John B.
You don't even know my
Perfect.
email address. Anyway,
I never emailed you.
which is actually
That's true.
understandable.
Quick question for you. I think it's really interesting. Go ahead.
Good. That's fine. Go ahead.
About pastoral ministry.
Yeah.
So there is like some urban legends out there. We go with that.
Yeah.
Right. So you have so we have the qualifications of an elder, which we understand.
Yeah.
There's the unspoken qualifications of an elder,
right,
of a pastor. But then there's some expectations of pastors. They're also unwritten. Like for example, he must be funny. He must have a big house to host everybody. But then there's also this expectations from the pastors, who are like, we should be due double honor.
Yeah.
We should be respected. We should be, left alone. I don't meet with people. That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
What is a good balance to think through that? Because the more I talk to people, the more I realize there is some unrealistic expectations from both sides, right?
Yeah.
From people, that my pastor never sins.
Totally.
Or never takes a vacation, never does never does anything wrong. He's a perfect parent, the perfect husband, the perfect everything. He'll never lay an egg when he preaches, And then there's the other expectation from you, a sinful expectation from a pastor thinking, hey, look what I do for a living. Show me some respect.
Potentially.
But of course, but both of those things are potential. So what is, and even in your case, as you've been pastoring now for a while, what has been a good way to think through pastoral work?
Yeah, totally.
Without thinking it's just a job.
Yeah. No, it's in one sense, I do think it is a vocation. Like you're called to do certain vocations, and all vocations, in a sense, before God are holy.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever you do, I mean, Solomon says, "Whatever your hand finds to do with all your might." And we're told in the New Testament that our ambition should be to live a quiet life. Work with our hands. Like that's really what we're doing. Which, in a sense, like that's what pastoral ministry is. We're just doing that, and we're given to the church, and we are given like the blessing and the honor of getting to preach the word and to shepherd the flock of God. So those are the things that we're given. But like we're both in that vocation. Yeah. Like that's what we do. We just care for the flock of God, and we preach the word, teach the word to people, and try to help them grow in Christ likeness. So like that's our responsibility before God. But in a sense, it is like just a job, just like anything else. It is. But I think sometimes we can sort of like there's two potential ways to go down that. One is to like get sort of like read our own press in that job and start to believe what we think, about ourselves, which makes us sometimes it can lead to like a sense like I'm above the people who I'm caring for, which isn't the case. 1 Peter chapter 5, it's so beautiful. He says, I exhort the elders among you as your fellow elder and witness of the sufferings of Christ, and partake also the glory that is to be revealed. Shepherd the flock of God among you, overseeing, not under compulsion, but willingly according to God, and not for dishonest gain, but with eagerness, nor yet as lording it over those allotted to you, but being examples to the flock. So it's not like we're over people who are in church or any sense like that. It's actually the other way around. We're just fellow members of the body of Christ. It's just that we've been given this divine grace to just care for them and to serve them and to love them. So, yeah, I mean, I think there's a way we can get too full of our own britches in that sense. And it's dangerous because like when we talk, very few people talk once a week for an hour
Yeah.
with a crowd of people listening to them.
Yeah.
Like that's super rare,
Yeah.
you know. So I mean, it's just like the mercy of God in our lives that God allows us to do that every week, you know, and that people are willing to listen to us
Yeah.
is shocking, you know. But that's like the work of God, and that's great that God has done that for us. But our job, pastorally, is really to do two things. This text tells us, you know, what we ought to do, which is to shepherd the flock of God. And that, what does that look like? Well, he gives a whole bunch of details on that. Um, Overseeing them, caring for them, not for dishonest gain, not don't lord it over them, but just be an example to them. So that's like the shepherding care of them.
Yeah.
And then Paul tells Timothy, be preach the word, be ready in season and out of season. So the way we shepherd the flock of God is by telling them the truth and pointing them to Christ and being clear with the Scripture, and that's really all we can do. And so that's really what it is to be a pastor. I think it's not something like, it's not this other thing, you know, it's just living as a Christian. But in this case, this is what we've been called to do vocationally, is to shepherd the flock of God. And then I think the best example of that is Christ, right? If there's anyone who we can look at who's a perfect example, it's Christ. I was thinking about John 13 back in John chapter 13. It's so interesting. Jesus, it says, John says, having loved his own who are in the world, he loved them to the end. So really, at the end of the day, Jesus is the perfect pastor, and what marked him. And John looks back on Jesus' life, and what marks him is love. He says that he loved his own and he loved them to the end. And the way that he showed them love is he just served them. He washed their feet. He did the menial thing for them. So in a sense, like I think as pastors, if we love our people, we care for them, then that will lead us to do whatever it is that they need. Like we actually belong to them, and that's good, you know. So that in a sense, like all of it is rooted in love, which makes sense. Because the first and greatest commandment is to love the Lord your God, and the second is to love your neighbor as yourself. And Jesus says, on these two hang all the law and the prophets. All obedience is going to flow out of a heart of love. And so if that's the case, then what does that mean? Well, I don't know. Like in every case, it's different. We do know it includes shepherding, and we do know it includes teaching. So teaching is an act of love, and shepherding is an act of love, and all of that is actually just love and a desire to see people conform to the image of Christ.
I mean, as you were talking, it really does strip away from both sides, right? The professionalism of ministry, and just thinking, well, I'm God's gift to this church, so I must be treated as a gift. But also on the other side, where people are thinking, well, there's no difference between the pastor and me. He just gets to talk for an hour,
right.
And so I won't, like, when he speaks into my life, I won't listen to him.
He has nothing to
he has nothing to say to me. Well, he was chosen
by God,
and appointed so that he would speak into your life. So we can't take that lightly. But conversely, right? You have you're just a man who's the Lord conferred upon you this grace, like you said.
Totally.
And we have the opportunity to speak into people's life and only speak the word of God and not your personal ideas,
personal opinions, whatever.
About life.
And
it does strip that professionalism away, where we think like we're untouchable. Right? Because I think that could lead into that, becoming thinking that we're untouchable. We can meet with people. We can mix with them. I need to be doing this. You know, this is my holy,
which
task.
Of course is the other way around, right? It's actually like an act of love. All of it is. And if we love, and I mean, we're called to love one another, right? And we, just as any other member of the church, are called to love one another, just as they are called to love each other, and I'm called to love them. They're called to love me. It's a one like big love family. And if we're living like that, then and we just happen to be called to do that work, then that's what we're called to do, which is a huge blessing. I think we overcomplicate it, to be totally honest. I think it can be overcomplicated, and I think we live in a world of celebrityism.
And we like that. We like to be close to the celebrities, right?
At least adjacent.
Yeah.
No, we're not. I mean, that it's just a dangerous thing, right? And I think a lot of the guys who are celebrity pastors aren't looking for that. They don't want to be celebrity pastors. Just like a lot of people listen to them, which we understand. And they're great preachers, great guys. But we live in a world of celebrityism, and it's just such a danger, but we can always just say, no, like, I love the people that are here in God's providence, who've been allotted to our charge, and we're going to care for them as best we can. And we just want to honor Christ in that,
How, at the risk of being even longer, but how has this shaped your ministry, even throughout, in the time that you were overseas, coming here, like in thinking about love in ministry with people? Like, I mean, you mentioned some things, but can you get more even concrete as to like how that that fleshes out like at the day by day.
Yeah. No. Because there's nothing concrete, right?
Okay.
Like it's like you know this. Like every day is different,
I don't
right?
know. I'm asking about you.
Stop.
I'm
You
asking
know
about
this.
you.
Yeah, but you know this. Like every day is different, right? That's one thing
Yeah.
about being a pastor is that every day is different. So every day you have a meeting, you have different meetings, different people, different needs, different responsibilities, different studies,
Yeah.
different writings, different like readings, things you're just doing. There's always something moving and it's different. And there's some consistency, but it really is very different. So you
Yeah.
just do whatever it is that God brings to you,
Yeah.
which in a sense, you never know, you know? You never know if you're going to get called to the hospital or called for an engagement. You know, you just don't know what's going to happen, or called for a birth or whatever. It's just like
Funeral, birth.
yeah,
We do
just
it all.
yeah, literally like everything is coming
Yeah.
at you all the
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
and then your job is just to love whatever comes to you,
Yeah.
which really is like it is the grace of God. I mean, MacArthur talks about how it's the pastor's grace.
Yeah.
Like you just have to live your life before God
Yeah.
because you don't know what he's going to bring to you. And so
Yeah.
you have to live your life before God all the time and you just have to live like that. And when you're tempted to sin, which we always are, and when there's like struggles in your heart of bitterness or self-pity or all those things that can grow up in our hearts, it's so helpful that God just you have to preach, you have
Yeah.
to teach, it
Yeah.
has to come out. You have to stand before
Mhm.
God, live with a clear conscience before God,
Yeah.
which forces us to like
Yeah.
be in the Word again, remind ourselves of
Yeah.
who God is
Keep
for
short
us,
accounts.
keep
Yeah.
short accounts,
Yeah.
which is just a joy. I mean, that's
Yeah.
really what God does, you know, to like protect us from
Yeah.
our own selves. We're terrible people
I think what I meant with that is just like, do you start off? Do you have an agenda as to what's going to happen?
on a given
On
week.
a given week. I mean, you can, but like you
Well,
said, things are going to just jump out.
and in God's grace, like Sunday has to happen.
Yeah.
Like you know, like you have to be
Yeah.
done with Isaiah on
But
Sunday
they
morning
don't
at
know.
9.
So
No,
they
yeah,
said,
but I mean, like, come on, they sit under you in Isaiah. Like if you go if I go in if I mean you have to teach on Sunday morning. Uh, there's nothing you do about that. Like it has to happen.
Yeah.
So like you have to get that done.
Yeah.
And if other things come into your life, you do it till 3 o'clock in the morning because you have to
Yeah.
get it done. Like it is what it is, you know. And if God providentially gives you a week where other things don't come in, and that's great, you know. But you just have to live before God in that.
Yeah.
And as long as you're loving the people and you're loving His Word and you're loving Him, then
So
you're
no planning. No joking.
well. I mean,
Joking.
there is this
Keep your planning with a open hand.
open hand would be a better way
Would
to
that
say
be
it.
a
Yeah,
better way to
yeah,
say
yeah.
that? Yeah.
But there is a sense of flexibility with it, right?
Yeah,
Because
it
God,
is.
but that's true for everybody. Like if you think
Yeah.
about it, you never know when you're going to get a flat tire. You never know when
Yeah.
God's providence is going to interrupt you. You're going to lose your job. You're going to get a promotion.
Yeah.
You don't,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Like, who
Absolutely.
knows? So we just like we all live sort of at the edge of life, and we know that God's going to bring us what He needs to bring
One
us.
last question. This is becoming a super long thing, but I do think it's very important. You and I have talked about this in the past, so that's why I can ask you with confidence. Is like
Yeah.
you wouldn't see a obviously we don't see a difference between a paid elder versus
No. Yeah.
a non-paid elder,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Someone who's a lay elder.
Yeah.
So both of them are called to do the same thing.
Same thing.
Right?
Yep.
Both of them are, maybe the emphasis of one of them would be more on the pulpit,
Yeah.
where the other one might be, doing, administration, shepherding, and teaching in a small setting, right? So you would see it as everything you just said. It also would apply to a lay elder.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah. The only difference between a lay elder and a paid elder is 1 Timothy 5:17. He says the elders who lead well are to be considered worthy of double honor, which we would take as pay. And it says especially those who labor hard at preaching the word and teaching. So there's a certain amount of teaching that happens in the church that it's really hard to do if you have a second job. Both of us teach multiple times a week. Lots of work product that we need to get done. If we I mean, we could do it. Like I would do it if I had to have a second job. I could do it. But you just die really young.
Yeah.
It's like you're sleeping 2 hours a night.
Yeah.
So to like really work hard and to get all that stuff done, the church says, hey, like seeing that all this work has to get done, we're going to take a guy and pull him out of secular employment.
Yeah, we'll free him up to do
that work. And both of us had secular jobs before we came into the full-time ministry. But the ministry is not like a different thing.
Yeah.
It's just an elder who used to be a lay elder and then is like, hey, like this guy, we could use this guy full time to preach and teach the word and shepherd the flock. So that's all we're doing. That's the only difference. And same role, same office, everything's the same.
Yeah.
And in many ways, I think, like I really respect and honor the guys who are lay elders.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like that's in many ways it's a harder job.
Yeah.
Because they're doing all the same stuff and they're really called upon to care for the flock and serve them and shepherd them and even teach frequently. Like I think of Joe.
Yeah.
I mean, Joe is like one of the hardest working people I know.
I know.
He's one of the busiest people I know,
Yeah.
and yet he still is producing stuff,
Yeah.
and teaching and leading and shepherding and caring and counseling. I mean, it's like what a responsibility,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, we just praise God for
Yeah.
guys like that.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's really helpful. I mean, to even think through these questions about eldership, about even the misunderstandings
Yeah, totally,
from both
yeah.
sides.
Yeah.
It's super helpful to think through this, because I think even church cultures, throughout,
Yeah.
the ages, but even in the 21st century, have actually professionalized ministry and
Yeah.
have given, especially lay elders, a second billing,
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you will.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean by billing.
Yeah, totally.
Where like they're both elders, they both have the same say at the church.
Totally.
One of them is not a super elder, and the other one is a junior elder.
Yeah.
Right?
No. Yeah.
This isn't like we're not an apprentice.
Yeah, that's where we want to make sure that this text is speaking, right?
Exactly.
First Timothy 3, Titus 1. It doesn't say like those who are paid.
Yeah.
It says like this is the office.
Yeah.
You take the office.
Yeah.
That's what's so important, right? That's why the office itself is so crucial, and that's why we're so. One thing, we always laugh like we're so slow to make elders at our church that at a certain point the church is like.
Yeah.
Like, what is wrong with you guys? Like, make him an elder, but that's actually intentional. Like, we want the church, the pressure of the church to be like, hey, this is where we need to be.
Absolutely.
So
that's helpful.
Anyway,
thank you. Yeah.
Well, I hope that's helpful for you as well. Questions I did not expect to be asked, but I hope that's helpful for you. If you have any questions,
now you know the feeling.
Yeah. Whatever. If you have questions on that or any other topic, you can always email us at info@faithbibleoc.org. Thanks so much.